Silence often reveals what noise hides. The most honest reactions in this world do not come from people. They come from those who have never learned to fake their feelings. A newborn baby who suddenly stops crying and stares at one person across the room. A dog that leaves its owner for a moment just to sit quietly beside a complete stranger. A cat known for avoiding everyone that decides to follow one person from room to room without fear. These moments seem small, but they leave a lasting question. Why do they happen? Most people smile, call it luck, and move on. Yet for many empaths, these experiences happen again and again. The pattern becomes too familiar to ignore. Babies who cannot speak, animals who cannot explain themselves, both seem drawn toward certain people in ways that surprise everyone watching. It almost feels as though they recognize something before anyone else does. The real mystery is not whether they are staring. The mystery is what they might actually be noticing. For years, stories from different cultures have described people whose presence naturally calmed frightened animals or comforted restless children. Some believed these individuals carried a special energy. Others called it kindness, inner peace, or a gentle spirit. Modern psychology approaches the question differently. Researchers do not speak about glowing lights around the body or invisible forces that can easily be measured. Instead, they study facial expressions, body language, breathing patterns, voice tone, emotional regulation, and the silent signals every human sends without realizing it. Those silent signals may be far more powerful than most people think. While adults spend much of their lives judging words, appearances, and social status, babies and animals rely on a completely different system. They react to safety, they react to consistency, they react to emotional calm. That difference may explain why their attention sometimes lands on people who quietly carry themselves with warmth instead of tension. Many empaths never notice these qualities in themselves because they feel natural. They listen more than they speak. They notice emotions before words. They avoid unnecessary conflict. They often move through life trying to understand rather than control others. These habits may seem ordinary, but together they create an emotional presence that others can feel even when nothing is being said. Science has shown that humans constantly communicate through tiny expressions, posture, breathing, and countless unconscious behaviors. Long before anyone says a single word, the brain is already collecting information about whether another person feels safe or threatening. Adults often ignore these signals because their attention is divided by stress, responsibilities, and constant distractions. Babies do not carry those distractions. Animals do not worry about social expectations. Their attention stays focused on the present moment. They notice details that many adults overlook every single day. That raises another fascinating question. If babies and animals are responding to emotional safety rather than appearance, what happens when someone loses that calm presence? Can stress change the way others respond to us? Can emotional pain silently affect the signals our bodies send into the world? Researchers studying stress have found that our emotions influence everything from facial muscles to voice tone and body movement. Even breathing changes when the nervous system feels overwhelmed. Most people never realize these changes are happening because they occur automatically. Yet babies and animals may notice them immediately. This could explain why some people seem naturally comforting while others create tension without saying anything at all. It also suggests that what many call an aura may not be magic in the way people often imagine. It could be the visible result of an invisible emotional state, one that quietly shapes every interaction we have. There is another side to this story that almost nobody talks about. Not every empath experiences this connection all the time. Many people who are deeply caring go through seasons of exhaustion, heartbreak, or emotional burnout. During those difficult periods, they often feel disconnected from themselves and from the world around them. Some even notice that animals behave differently toward them than they once did. Then, as healing begins and inner peace slowly returns, those quiet moments begin appearing again. A bird lands unusually close. A nervous dog relaxes without hesitation. A child smiles for no obvious reason. These experiences may not prove the existence of supernatural powers, but they do point toward an important truth. The emotional state we carry inside ourselves often reaches farther than words ever can. The most surprising part is that many of the world's greatest communicators are completely silent. Babies cannot explain why they feel comfortable with one person and uneasy around another. Animals do not write books about trust or emotional intelligence. Their reactions are immediate, honest, and free from social masks. That honesty makes them remarkable observers of human behavior. They respond to what they sense, not to what they are told. In many ways, they remind us of how humans once experienced the world before we learned to overthink everything. Their behavior challenges us to ask whether real connection begins long before conversation ever starts. In this video, we are going to explore what psychology, biology, and animal behavior actually reveal about this fascinating mystery. You will discover why babies often focus on certain faces longer than others, why dogs and cats can appear unusually drawn to calm individuals, how the human nervous system silently communicates emotions, and why adults may overlook signals that children and animals respond to naturally. We will separate popular myths from scientific evidence while also exploring why so many personal experiences continue to leave people searching for answers. Along the way, you may discover that what many describe as an empath's aura is far more complex and far more interesting than most people realize. By the end of this video, you may never look at those quiet stares from a baby or the unexpected trust of an animal in quite the same way again. There is a hidden layer of human connection that often goes unnoticed, and understanding it could change the way you see yourself and everyone around you. Welcome to our channel, where we explore the psychology of empathy, relationships, emotional intelligence, and the hidden patterns behind human behavior in a simple and meaningful way. If these topics interest you and you want to discover insights that most people never stop to think about, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. There is much more to uncover, and this journey is only just beginning. I will start with part 1 and continue the section as one continuous script. I will keep the flow natural and will not add a conclusion until the final part. There is a reason the word aura has remained popular for so many years. It describes a feeling that many people experience but struggle to explain. It is the feeling you get when someone enters a room and the entire atmosphere seems to change. Not because they are the loudest person, not because they demand attention, but because there is a certain quality in the way they carry themselves. A quiet presence, a calmness, a feeling that makes others naturally notice them. When people hear the word aura, many immediately picture a glowing energy field surrounding a person's body. Some imagine different colors representing emotions, personality traits, or spiritual qualities. These ideas exist in many traditions around the world, and for centuries, people have used different words to describe the invisible impression one person leaves on another. However, when we look at this topic through the lens of psychology and human behavior, the explanation becomes even more fascinating. Science has not confirmed that humans literally see invisible energy fields around other people. There is no proven evidence that someone can visually observe an emotional glow surrounding another person's body. But that does not mean the experience people describe is meaningless. In fact, researchers have discovered that humans are constantly communicating information without saying a single word. Every person sends hundreds of signals every day: the way someone stands, the way someone moves, the speed of their breathing, the expression on their face, the tone of their voice, the amount of eye contact they make, the distance they keep from others. Even the way they react when another person becomes emotional All of these things create an impression. Before a person speaks, the brain is already collecting information. It is trying to answer important questions. Is this person safe? Can I trust this person? Do I feel comfortable around them? Should I move closer or create distance? Humans developed this ability over thousands of years because reading other people was connected to survival. Before words became the main way we communicated, people relied heavily on body language, facial expressions, and emotional signals. A calm person could represent safety. An unpredictable person could represent danger. This ability still exists today. The difference is that modern life has made many people ignore it. Most adults are trained to focus on obvious things. They look at someone's appearance, their clothing, their achievements, their social position, their confidence. They often judge people based on what is visible on the outside, but the nervous system notices deeper information. It notices tension. It notices calmness. It notices whether someone's actions match their words. It notices whether a person feels emotionally stable or unpredictable. This is why someone can meet a stranger and immediately feel comfortable around them without knowing exactly why. They might say, there is just something peaceful about that person. They may not realize that their brain is responding to hundreds of tiny signals happening in real time. This is where the idea of an empath's aura becomes interesting. Many people who identify as empaths describe themselves as highly sensitive to emotions. They often notice changes in people's moods quickly. They can sense when someone is uncomfortable, even when that person is pretending everything is fine. They may pick up on small changes in tone, facial expression, or energy in a room before others recognize anything has changed. From a psychological perspective, this can be connected to emotional awareness, empathy, and sensitivity to social cues. Some people naturally pay closer attention to emotional information. They notice small details, they listen carefully, they observe before reacting. They are more aware of how their actions affect others. Because of this, they may develop a way of interacting that feels calm and reassuring to the people around them. This is why some people describe certain individuals as having a warm aura. The warmth is not necessarily a mysterious force. It can come from hundreds of small behaviors happening together. A person who feels calm internally often moves differently. Their movements may be slower. Their expressions may be softer. Their voice may be more relaxed. They may not interrupt constantly. They may give others space to speak. They may respond instead of reacting. These behaviors send a powerful message. You are safe here. You do not need to defend yourself. You do not need to pretend. This message can be felt by humans, but interestingly, it can also be noticed by babies and animals. Before a child understands language, they are already learning about emotions. Before an animal understands human intentions, they are already reading human behavior. They do not need someone to explain kindness. They observe it. This may be one reason why some people experience moments where babies or animals seem unusually interested in them. The person may believe there is an invisible quality attracting them. But another possibility is that babies and animals are responding to the same signals that humans often overlook. They are noticing calmness, they are noticing patience, they are noticing emotional safety. Think about the difference between two people approaching a nervous animal. One person rushes forward. They move quickly. They reach immediately. They want the animal to respond. Their excitement creates pressure. Another person sits quietly. They allow the animal to decide. They keep their movements slow. They do not force attention. Even without training, many animals will naturally feel more comfortable around the second person. The difference is not always what the person does. Sometimes it is what they choose not to do. They do not demand trust. They create space for trust to develop. This same idea can apply to babies. A baby cannot understand someone's career, reputation, or personality story. A baby does not know whether someone is successful or popular. They do not care about social status. They respond to what they experience in the moment: a gentle expression, a calm voice, a relaxed face, a predictable reaction, a feeling of safety. This is why the idea of an aura becomes more interesting when viewed through psychology. The question may not be whether people have a visible energy field. The deeper question may be whether people carry emotional states that become visible through behavior, because emotions do not stay completely hidden inside the body. Stress changes breathing, fear changes posture, confidence changes movement, calmness changes facial expression. The body constantly reveals pieces of what is happening internally. A person who has learned emotional control may unintentionally create a peaceful environment around them. Others may not know why they feel comfortable, but they experience the result. This could explain why some people seem to attract those who are more sensitive to emotional information: children, animals, highly empathetic people. They may all be paying attention to signals that are easy to miss. A baby staring at someone is not necessarily seeing a magical force. A dog walking towards someone is not necessarily understanding their entire personality. But both may be responding to a collection of small details that create one clear message: this person feels safe. And safety is one of the strongest forms of communication that exists. The interesting part is that most people are unaware of how much they communicate without speaking. They think conversations happen through words. They think connection is built through explanations. But often, the deepest impressions happen before the first sentence is even spoken. A person's emotional state enters every interaction. It appears in their eyes. It appears in their voice. It appears in the way they hold themselves. And for babies who are still learning about the world, and animals who rely heavily on instinct and observation, these signals may be impossible to ignore. But to truly understand why babies often focus on certain people, we have to look deeper into how a baby's developing brain reads emotions, faces, and safety signals long before language begins. Because the way a baby looks at someone may reveal more about human connection than most people realize. The most powerful qualities a person carries are often the ones that cannot be seen. A kind heart does not need to announce itself. A peaceful mind does not need to prove itself. And genuine emotional presence cannot be copied for long. Many people spend their lives trying to impress others through success, appearance, achievements, or status. But babies do not look at those things. Animals do not recognize those things. They are not impressed by titles, popularity, or what someone owns. They respond to what they feel. They notice patience. They notice calmness. They notice whether a person brings comfort or tension into the space around them. Maybe the true gift of an empath is not simply understanding other people's emotions. Maybe the deeper gift is creating a feeling of safety where others can finally relax and be themselves. That kind of presence is rare. It is the kind of presence that does not need many words. It is felt through a gentle voice, a peaceful reaction, a moment of understanding. A person who makes others feel safe leaves an impact that lasts much longer than someone who only tries to be noticed. Whether you call it an aura, emotional intelligence, compassion, or a peaceful nervous system, the effect of genuine kindness can be powerful. The way we make others feel is often the strongest message we ever send. So the next time a baby looks at you for a little longer, or an animal approaches you without fear, remember that there may be more happening than you realize. Sometimes the smallest moments reveal the biggest truths about the energy we carry into the world. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever experienced a moment where a baby or an animal seemed to instantly trust you? Share your story in the comments, because your experience might help someone else understand this unique connection. If you enjoyed this video and want to explore more about empathy, human behavior, relationships, and emotional intelligence, make sure to like this video, share it with someone who needs to see it, and subscribe to our channel Turn on notifications so you never miss our upcoming videos. Remember, the world does not always remember the loudest people in the room. Sometimes it remembers the people who made others feel safe.